Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us today to discuss technology and hardware solutions for education. My name is Andrew Jones with Rahi, and we're a California-based technology solutions provider with locations across the US and the world. We take a consultative approach to provide design products, services to fit the real-world needs of companies and educational institutions just like yours. Our goal for this webinar is to provide you with the information you need to help solve any challenges you may be facing today with your unique environments and arm you with the resources that you need. During this call, if you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A at the bottom of your screen, and we'll address them at the end of the discussion. After the webinar is over, the email address on your screen is the best point of contact for support. For today's webinar, we wanted to bring Zoom and Logitech into the conversation, since these two companies have been at the forefront of solving these challenges through their products and technology. They have placed an emphasis around solutions for education and classrooms. Their focus and goal during COVID has been to provide educators, students, and parents with a very immersive experience while simplifying the technology for users to make the experience seamless. With that said, let me introduce you to our panel today. We have Anthony Lee here from Zoom, Roseanne Cohen with Logitech, and then myself, Andrew Jones with Rahi Systems. The first topic we want to talk about is engagement in the classroom. So we get a lot of questions around how to make engagement better between students who are working remotely and students who are physically in the classroom. How does Zoom Rooms and Logitech solutions solve for this, specifically middle schools and high schools? Anthony, can you start with that and talk a little bit around that?
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for that intro. Yeah, my name's Anthony Lee. I've been at Zoom for about 4.5 years. Now, my primary focus is, I'm a Zoom Room specialist here. I handle everything from the technical sales aspects and blended learning environments. One of the things that I really touches. Actually, let me start with this. I apologize, everyone. I want to send a big heartfelt thank you to all the educators, all the IT administrators, everybody that has an influence and impact in enabling all the teachers to be able to do what they can. All of us here are parents, and I just want to say thank you, because without you, I don't know what my children would be doing. So seriously, from the bottom of my heart, on behalf of Zoom, thank you guys so much for everything that you do for our students and for our children. Let's talk about that. So about 1 year ago today, we were faced with probably one of the biggest challenges that we've ever had to face in the educational space. We went on lockdowns, pandemic. Children had to figure out a way to connect with their teachers, and that's what happened. A very reactive approach back in about a year ago. Everyone scrambled to find the solution that's going to connect, and you guys settled on Zoom, and that's partially why we're here today. It's because that's probably one common interest that we all have amongst each other. Now, let's fast forward to today. In 1 year, what happened? We had that reactive approach where we had to connect students to one another. But now today, we're trying to figure out, how do we engage them? How do we continue to engage our students to learn through touch, through feel, working on their motor skills, their muscle memory? But how do you do that over video? And we've worked with Rahi, we've worked with Logitech to be able to find a solution that's going to work absolutely perfect for them. So what I want to show you guys next is just a quick image of what it would be in a learning environment. If you don't mind pulling that up, let's talk about this part here. Okay. I took a step back and I said, I need to think about this, because I need to figure out a way to work with my teachers so that they can have a solution that's easy. And the reality was I didn't have the answer. I'm not an educator. I was not born with that gift to be able to understand the pedagogy of teaching math, whatever it might be. I can't do that with my kids, but somehow, some way, you guys are all gifted with the capability to do so. So I thought about what my kid actually experienced, or what my son experienced, and his frustrations. And I talked to the teachers, and that expanded to these roundtable discussions where we pulled in educators from other districts, from K through 12 to higher ed, to have an understanding for, like, what do you want? And the reason why I show this image here is because what was actually presented to me was a solution that originally did not work. And let me tell you what that is. Okay, so originally, use your imagination here. Towards the back of this room here, what we actually had teachers doing was putting a camera back there. I think about it like myself. When I was in high school, when I was in college, I was that student that sat back center and didn't graduate college in my 4 years. I didn't get the best grades in high school. Be the first to admit that one. So it doesn't work by providing an experience from the back of the room. And you can't see the content, you feel separated. So then we worked with all the educators in these roundtable discussions and said, what is the answer? And is it something simple? Logitech came out with something called a rally bar, and I thought that was actually the answer for it. You'll notice here that there's a TV on there on a mobile cart, and right below it, there's a white rally bar sitting there. It benefits because by putting the right camera placement in your room, you actually have the ability to see your students. You have the ability to see your teacher. And where are the students online? They're sitting behind that lens. And if they sit behind the lens, then that means they're engaged because the teacher looks at them. The students look at them and they can see their students and they can see their teachers, and it eliminates the separation between the two. Now, one last thing I want to show is, let's say we have the student in the orange shirt back there with her smart device, or let's say her laptop there. What if she wanted to share content? Typically, and I'm going to do this, normally if I said, teacher, I want to share something with you. Well, what she's going to do, she's going to hold up her laptop and show it to her students that sit around her, because now everyone's social distancing. And the teacher will be able to see. But what about the students online? But when you use Zoom rooms, you actually have this capability to do one-click sharing. So the content that student wants to share actually shows up on that screen. That's kind of where it's sitting today, is we need to be able to allow the students online to share content and the students in class to be able to see, and vice versa. And I think that that's a really big component in creating that engaging environment. And that's what you guys are going to learn today.
Yeah, if I could just add to that, Anthony, that's what I really like, is you showcasing that real world scenario and how educators are outfitting classrooms today. And when we go and just kind of think back on what Andrew's asking us, he said, how do Logitech and Zoom solve for engagement in the classroom? And the first thing I always like to ask is, what are we trying to accomplish? And I just have a slide, if we could share that, because I want to talk about those use cases. We like to begin with understanding what educators are trying to accomplish. Where are you teaching from? Are you remote? Are you in the classroom? Are you trying to support curriculum enhancement, like bring in speakers from outside of your classroom to provide real world work experience, to provide them with virtual field trips? Where are those speakers going to be located, and where will your students be located? When you think about administration and training, are you going to be outfitting conference rooms within a school district or a university campus to support school board meetings? Or do you want to do professional development and training? Do you want to broadcast out a instructor teaching other students? And then are you are you in a school clinic? And in a school clinic, you have the ability to support the emotional and the physical well-being of those students. Do you want to be able to connect to a physician's office? Do you want to provide care that supports mental health counseling services for those students? Do you want to provide that chronic disease management? Do you have students who have conditions where they need to see their physicians a couple times a week or once a week for their check-ins, but you want to keep them on campus so that they are not losing a lot of learning time when they have to leave the campus? So, and then also you've got these esports and these extracurricular activities. Do you want to create a culture of inclusivity in your environment to make new programs available or to attract new students to your campus through unique programs with esports and gaming? So there's a lot of different ways that you can use Logitech and Zoom technologies to promote engagement. And it begins with understanding all of the ways that we can support that type of engagement. If we could to just kind of take a step back, I just always like to begin with educating. Maybe if you're new to Zoom, you might be trying to figure out how to outfit your campus or your school district with the right UC platform. And what the beauty of Zoom is that it's a complete unified communications platform for education. all of those use cases that we talked about, and you can see whether it's teaching and learning, community engagement, student engagement, are all supported within that Zoom UC platform, whether it's that face-to-face video that we're using today, whether it's their voice platform, if you want to outfit maybe the office with headsets and phone systems. And so Zoom provides this ecosystem to support this collaboration capability. And where Logitech complements this UC platform is that we provide that single hardware provider or solution for all of those use cases. So whether it's your user interface, your video collaboration tools, webcams that allow instructors to adapt their teach from home environments to be to raise their eye level up, to be more comfortable, or to use it as a secondary camera or a document camera, or even to actually capture a whiteboard on the wall. So again, if you look at all of the devices, headsets, keyboards, productivity tools, speakers, Logitech has this entire portfolio that complements and has an overlay right on top of Zoom's platform. So that really is a justification as to why you maybe have heard so much about Logitech and Zoom over this past year. We've become this household name because not only do our portfolios meet each other, like just fit together very seamlessly, our solutions are easy to use, plug and play, and users can adapt to it. Now, when you look to moving to the classroom, I'd like to maybe ask us to play a video to showcase what that easy to use technology brings to a classroom.
Appleby is an independent day and boarding school. We've got students from over 40 different countries. When things hit hard in March and everybody went into lockdown, it's safe to say that we were all in emergency remote learning mode. We had our core principles around wanting to have a very rigorous experience and wanting to keep people connected. And so we were looking at ways to try to hold on to that as best we could. And that's not something that can happen just with a teacher with a laptop and all of the students individually on theirs. And so that was really the driving point for us when we looked at the Logitech system, was to capitalize on that classroom interaction. We have this model where we have half of the students in physically during the day and the other half at home. We kind of talk about it almost as if they're like the back row of your classroom.
Logitech was particularly compelling in terms of price point. We're running over 50 classrooms. We were really just overwhelmingly pleased with the performance and the reliability. Where Logitech really won out was the user experience. Entering a room and just hitting that one button to start the meeting would immediately put teachers and faculty at ease.
I remember visiting in the summer and just seeing the first high-flex rooms start to get set up with the Zoom console and the camera and thinking, this is unbelievable.
If we put in a system that's complicated and we don't have the resources in-house to support it, it would have been a nightmare for us. The sync portal gives us the status of the system online, the equipment uptime in each room, and the ability for us to push firmware updates to all the rooms remotely.
When we first launched, we had our network analysis tool on, and it was just great to see all these Logitech Zoom rooms come online, and those numbers started to grow throughout the day.
I would say out of all of the new tools that we brought in, this has been the one that people have had to think about the least.
With the combination of in-class and then online learning, something to think about is how much do you value that interaction between your students and teachers. This new system has really helped us bring that back.
It's about as close as I think as we can come to having all of those students in the class and have that be a high quality experience that you can count on.
Thank you for showing that video. I think it's pretty impactful, and it shows an amazing experience that can be created. I definitely agree at the beginning of COVID, it was a scramble to just get some technology in the room and, hope that it's the right piece. We can communicate remotely, and more of the choices were made about speed and how fast it can be implemented. And then a lot of new challenges were discovered during that time. So when we look at this, we understand there's a learning curve around new technologies that are brought into the classroom, especially around hybrid environments, which put a lot of pressure on educators, students, and the parents. How is Appleby able to approach this and make it so successful?
You're muted, Anthony.
You would think that I would know that. No, I want to say that I want to point out a very powerful statement that was made in there. And it was, of all of the tools that we used, this is the one that teachers have to think about the least, right? And Dawson, that one student, he made a powerful statement as well, where he puts value on what the classroom environment is and how he gauges that. That's the thing. It just makes collaboration incredibly easy for your teachers, for your students, content to be able to share. And we talk about this a lot. You're hearing me say, this is so much easier for the teachers. It's so much easier for the students. But then we take it even further because we make it something easy for the IT team to be able to manage, because they're the backbone of what makes this possible, right? And when I say that they make it possible, it's a single pane of glass for them to be able to do their administration. And in a moment, you're going to learn about this, but it's truly a whole campus solution. Right? It's just engaging, and you see how Logitech made that work within Appleby. It speaks volumes. Last thing, this is one to point out too. I've been to a lot of schools. I've seen a lot of classrooms to see what they look like today. And one thing I'm going to tell you, that a lot of schools that don't have like a full-on engagement solution for their learning environment, there's a lot of stuff in there, a lot of stuff unplugged, because they scrambled to find the solution. We're trying to show you and just guide you and say, you know what, we massage the solution, and here is a solution that will work. So hopefully you guys are excited to see this.
Yeah, Anthony, that's a great point. Simplifying the classroom was key for Appleby. And one of the ways that they did that was providing a single user experience across every single room environment, whether it was a conference room or a classroom. And I've got a slide just to depict that and to show how they did that. What you're seeing here is Logitech's Tap. It's a user interface that's got the integrated calendaring, the content sharing tool, and an all-in-one interface. And so when we make technology easy for educators, they can focus on engaging with their students, to building relationships with parents. They can focus on the curriculum, and they can spend their time building creative assets to support teaching and learning, whether they're in or outside of the classroom. So the user interface was key. One of the value propositions, or I guess I would say are competitive value propositions that Logitech brings to these environments, is that you can choose whatever conference room you have, classroom size that you have, small, medium, or large, a mobile solution or a modular integrated solution. We can provide that single user interface so that anyone can walk into that room and know how to use that system. The next thing I want to share with you is what Appleby said about management. How do you manage an entire network, 50 endpoints? How does the IT, you have a limited staff of IT administrators within your school. How are they going to manage making sure those devices are online, making sure they've got the right software updates, or that you're not going over maximum capacity for the room to hold? And you can do that using Logitech Sync and Zoom's management platforms. These are a part of the solution. They are free management platforms that are in the cloud. So you can manage these rooms, keep them updated, check on the status of them from anywhere. So those were the two key things I wanted to point out, Anthony, about how did Appleby make it easy, these hybrid classrooms easy.
Yeah, that's great. I really appreciate it. So oftentimes we get the question of, what is the difference between using Zoom meetings in a classroom over Zoom rooms? Why can't I just use a Zoom meeting instead? Anthony, can you address some of that?
Yeah, Zoom meetings and Zoom rooms, big difference between the two. For one, I try to tell people, everyone in IT, I said, how do you justify a solution? And I said, we need to find an ROI. And the ROI is time savings, right? It just works. It's one click to start with Zoom rooms. It's one click to share content. Students can click one button to be able to share content from, that one student to the screen, and vice versa. It's just a simplified way of sharing. And you quantify that time. It's a big difference. Now we look at what happens on the meeting side. Well, when you use meetings, you're signing in and out, entering different codes. The only person that actually can share content in that classroom is your teacher, unless everybody's connected to Zoom meetings. that can have an impact on your network, using Zoom meetings and having that many people out there trying to connect, when you can just have a all-in-one room solution via Zoom rooms. It's truly just one click, and your ROI is on that time saving. No time plugging in dongles. Last one I'll touch on is, imagine you're doing a school presentation and everyone shows up with one of these when it's their time to present. How much time is lost just trying to plug this into the teacher's computer, when really now you just tap the Logitech tap and you have a single user experience, right?
Absolutely. I just want to add on to that, Anthony. The way we like to define it and just share with our customers, again, same question: what's the difference between the two, and what's the value? The Zoom meeting license, we all have one. That's how we're connected and using it today. It's my individual license. I can use it for my calls and for my chats and for my video collaboration. A Zoom meeting room is associated with a room environment, with a room system. So it's not associated with a client license like we have. It's associated with a device within a room. So if I could just share this room deployment options, I'm a visual person. This is how I teach and learn. But if you were thinking about the 3 different ways that Logitech supports room systems, it's either bring your own device, putting in a dedicated compute, or leveraging one of our appliance-based systems. What Anthony was talking about with having to plug in all these different devices, when you have a bring your own device solution where you use that Zoom meeting license, the onus is on the educator or whoever brings that laptop to a room environment to get the system not only plugged in, but started in the classroom going. So if you can imagine, if the educator's running late, if she tests positive for COVID, if she's sick and you need to have a substitute come in, now all of a sudden everyone's scrambling not only to find somebody to fill that spot to teach the class, but also to plug in all of the devices and make sure they can reach those remote students. So that sometimes is not the best model to have if you're thinking about what the future of teaching and learning is going to be, right? And so a more efficient way to do this in an on-campus environment is to have a dedicated solution or a dedicated compute, which gives you modularity. You can add on multiple displays, multiple cameras, but have that same that same tap control interface. Or you can have an appliance-based system where you can put it in a cart as well, and then just really begin your classes very seamlessly. The biggest thing we want you to understand is that Logitech and Zoom provide you choice, right? So in those Zoom meeting rooms, you can have a small, medium, and large, again, consistent user interface. You can see on the left-hand side of this screen, you've got Logitech modular systems that are bundled with Zoom Room license. And on the right-hand side, you can actually have our appliance-based solutions where you remove that compute, all the compute's built on that appliance, and you can even bundle it with, you can see here, with a touch display if you want to remove the touch panel within that room. So again, we're all about giving our users choice in deploying rooms the way that they want to. But there's one thing, if I could, and this is just to showcase some of the key features. And Anthony, I'll need your help on this one. But the 2 features on the left-hand side where it says companion whiteboard and Zoom rooms for touch, those are the in-classroom benefits that you'll get in addition to those content sharing features. But you can actually attach a companion whiteboard to an interactive display to share content with your students. You can have students come up to the whiteboard and share that in your class. You can also, again, touch that interactive touch panel. But when you look at Zoom Room license, it's that future of learning capability. So you think about it more of as an enterprise solution. And Anthony, can you speak to the other features that are available?
Yeah, thank you for that, Roseanne. So I'm thinking here, whole campus solution, right? From room scheduling. Think of your first day when you were trying to figure out where your class is, what time does your class actually start? Am I in the right classroom? Digital signage, being able to broadcast messages to the whole greater audience or all your students, taken away from that need for just email, because that's how announcements are done today. Virtual receptionists and wayfinding, it's a huge aspect to it. But if you guys want to learn more about this one, I know we're running up on time. Please contact the questions at rahisystems.com, because they are subject matter experts as well, and they'll make sure to get you connected to us.
Thanks, Anthony, Roseanne. And real quick here, as we do come to an end, I wanted to make sure we hit on another topic. We've discussed a lot of different ways that both Zoom and Logitech can help solve these challenges. And just in order to leave enough time for some questions here at the end, if we can kind of, just discuss this quickly. What assistance is available through Logitech and Zoom to help educators find the funds available to deliver these solutions in their environments?
Mind if I jump on this one here?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so there's a couple things. Logitech has a grant services program that we make available through Rahi. So if you have a customer if you are interested in learning about how to fund your technology purchases through Rahi, basically you can leverage our funding experts. This is a complimentary service offering where we will work with you to understand your project needs, and we can advise on various grants that are available today that you can fund those grants. The top recipients are those public school districts, charter schools, not for profits, as well as those university systems, libraries and museums, and academic medical centers. Again, this is free consulting services to help guide you and give you a list of all the funding and grant opportunities that are available for you to go after. However, one important thing to note is that there was this global pandemic, and there's all of this stimulus funding that's being fueled to help schools, K through 12, as well as university systems, to be successful. And so if you have immediate needs for your classrooms or your campuses, you can actually work with our team to help, and we can help guide you building out a justification for your technology purchases so that you can apply for CARES Act funding. So if you think about it, the CARES Act funding is available today. If you are looking to outfit your campuses and invest in technology, we can guide you and consult with you through that process and give you basically all the tools that you need to write a justification for why you need CARES Act funding to support this. And then long-term, if you need a long-term strategy to supplement or expand your programs, your distance learning programs, we have a grant application process that we can help guide you through as well. So there's just two channels. We just have funding experts to help guide customers through that. And then you can reach us through by contacting Rahi, and they'll get you in touch with our team.
Thanks a lot for that, Roseanne. Now, if anybody has any questions on the call, please go ahead and add them into the Q&A, and we can get those answered. I'll give a quick minute if anybody wants to add anything in.
You're muted.
There. Oh, I caught myself halfway through on that one. While people are inputting their questions, I want to bring up a question that came up to me. It comes up quite often, so I want to make sure it gets addressed. Great, Anthony, you've talked so much about Zoom rooms during the pandemic, but what about beyond the Zoom room? And that's where we're thinking about it. Right, the solution was not created just because of the pandemic. These ideas from Logitech and the concepts from Rahi and ourselves, that didn't come just for the pandemic. That's beyond. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree in my family. My son is not going to miss school when he's sick after this pandemic. He's going to be able to learn from his iPad or from his laptop. He's secret here. He actually has a Zoom room that he learns from. It's pretty cool. Thank you, Logitech, for that. But yeah, it goes beyond. There's no child that's going to be left behind just because they're sick. It's blended learning here, and I say that that COVID was a blessing and a curse in the sense that it was a curse because our kids lost out in a year of their education through the years that they're developing. But I also say that it's a blessing because it's also enabling schools to have the technology that they needed for so long. And now students when they're sick, they don't have to have their parents have to go pick up a packet and teach them. They can learn with their students. They're still going to feel engaged.
Absolutely. And I think, the biggest thing that we can leave with schools and users, educators, students alike is that Zoom and Logitech provide choice, right? Where I learn, how I learn, how much reinforcement and learning I need, whether it's through watching recorded video sessions that came from a Zoom room, through my learning management system, or participating in additional live sessions or tutoring sessions to help address any learning gaps that happened over this past year. So we've got a lot of choice with the Logitech Zoom platform, and Rahi is definitely a great partner in bringing these solutions to our education customers. So thank you for the opportunity to share our message and our stories with you today, Andrew. We appreciate it.
Yeah, Roseanne, Anthony, I really appreciate you guys hopping on this morning. We've talked a lot about how Logitech and Zoom can simplify your experience for students, educators, and parents, really. So, if you guys have any needs for these solutions in your space, or just want to know how to optimize your current space, please reach out to the experts on our team here at Rahi. We have experience rolling out Logitech and Zoom solutions in a variety of campus environments, big or small. Bring us in for your next project and allow us the opportunity to deliver a better learning experience to your students and staff. Again, the best contact information is right there at the bottom of your screen, questions@rahisystems.com. We also have a live chat on our website, or our telephone is right there as well if you prefer to call. So thank you everyone for joining, and have a great rest of your day.